Where is Mr. Gray?
Mr. Gray is here.
You got a long way to go on your license too, don't you?
Yes.
Alright everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're heading straight into Judge Perkins' courtroom, where a very confident sovereign citizen tries to argue that the court has no jurisdiction over them, but Judge Perkins wastes no time breaking down exactly why those arguments fall apart in the real world. This exchange gets tense, confusing, and even a little unbelievable at times, as the judge patiently explains the law while the defendant keeps pushing theories that make absolutely no sense. This is one of those courtroom moments that shows the massive gap between internet legal myths and actual reality, so let's jump right into it.
William Glenn on behalf of Mr. Gray, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Gray, are you trying to get a driver's license?
Your Honor, I'm here by special appearance.
I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. Go ahead.
I don't understand the nature of the case that's here in front of me. I don't understand.
So you don't understand the nature of the case that's here in front of you. You don't understand that you got to have a driver's license to operate a motor vehicle on the roads of the state of Michigan. You don't understand any of that stuff.
Your Honor, I don't understand the jurisdiction. I don't understand how I wound up here.
Alright, let me explain what's really happening here, because somewhere along the line you got convinced that the rules somehow don't apply to you, probably after watching a few internet videos from people pretending to understand the law. Now suddenly you're throwing around words like jurisdiction, consent, and constitutional rights as if you discovered some hidden loophole that can make charges disappear, but the courts have heard these exact arguments thousands of times before, and they fail every single time. No judge is going to throw a case away because someone memorized legal phrases off social media, and honestly, without a real attorney guiding you through this process, you're walking straight into a situation that has already ended badly for countless people who thought they had outsmarted the system.
You know, I got a similar case, and this gentleman provided me with a motion the other day, and I'm reading the motion. And I'm reading a case law that he says is supporting the fact that the court doesn't have jurisdiction, that the state can't make you have a driver's license and things like that. And when you read the case law that he gives me, and it's probably going to be, if you did your own motion, it'd probably be the same case law that you would try to cite. It says exactly the opposite of what he is trying to purport.
Okay, so what is the jurisdiction of the court, Your Honor?
Go ahead.
What is the jurisdiction of the court, Your Honor?
You know, if you're saying that the court doesn't have jurisdiction, are you trying to say basic? Let's just talk a little real simple, basic stuff. Are you trying to say that you can just run red lights, you can just speed, you can just do what you want to do on the roads without any repercussions at all?
Your Honor, is this a court of record? I'm sorry, is this a court of record?
Yeah, this is a court of record, which means every word coming out of your mouth is being officially documented and preserved, whether it helps you or completely destroys your case. And the dangerous part is a lot of people walk in thinking they're exposing the system, when in reality they're just creating a detailed record of their own bad decisions right in front of the judge.
Is this a court of record?
As far as I checked, it was, Mr. Glenn.
Yes, it is, sir.
Okay, so you guys follow a common law.
We follow the state. We follow the statute of the state. We follow the statute of the state of Michigan.
You follow a common law, Your Honor.
The 14th Amendment gives the state the right to enforce the police powers of the state. The right of that is to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens. Part of that right comes, part of that constitutional right says that the state has the authority to regulate the people that are driving on the roads of the state of Michigan, and to say that to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the citizens.
The Sixth Amendment allows me to know the nature of what I'm being charged with, and that's.
I'm gonna tell you. SP 1267865 failure to display a valid operator's license. Punishment.
Your Honor, I'm challenging your jurisdiction. I'm challenging.
Go ahead.
I'm challenging his jurisdiction, Your Honor. I don't understand the nature of the charges.
Trying to challenge jurisdiction has absolutely nothing to do with whether you personally understand every legal detail of the charges against you, and that's where a lot of sovereign citizens completely misunderstand the Constitution. The Sixth Amendment guarantees that you are informed of the accusations being made against you, not that the court has to stop proceedings until you personally agree with or interpret the law your own way. That's exactly why defense attorneys exist, because their job is to explain the legal language, build a strategy, and protect your rights inside a system that clearly has rules, procedures, and consequences, whether you choose to believe in them or not.
And for the record, Your Honor, please have the prosecutor put jurisdiction on the record for, if you could, Your Honor. Just let me know so that since we're in court of record.
Well, if I have a signed complaint here, which I have a signed complaint, then that automatically puts the jurisdiction on the record.
All right, I didn't get a copy of that, and if you have a copy, I'm going to need that to be signed under penalty of perjury, Your Honor. If it's an accusation against you. And yeah, I would just, if one of the things I request is, if I can just get that accusation with sworn penalty of perjury, that would be great.
That's up.
He got it. We'll give it to him again.
I appreciate it.
We're gonna give it to him again. And don't get me wrong. I respect the fact that you that you want to fight this, but I would say from my experience, you're going about it all the wrong way. And I just ask you that basic question. You don't think that the police or that the state or that the ordinances have a right to stop people from speeding and running traffic stops? Because basically, with your logic that you're trying to purport, then nobody can get stopped for anything.
Your Honor, no one was hurt. There is no injured party, Your Honor. And so upon my look of the law, and this is a court of record, and no one was hurt. And so we're following the common law. I understand that a lot of people don't understand how to function here, but since I do, well, then I want to exercise this right.
All right, slow down for a second, because this idea that driving is some untouchable constitutional right is exactly where the misunderstanding begins. There is no section of the Constitution that guarantees anyone an unlimited right to operate a vehicle however they want on public roads, and that's why every state requires licenses, registration, insurance, and compliance with traffic laws. Driving is treated as a regulated privilege because once you're operating a vehicle around other people, public safety becomes part of the equation, and courts have upheld that principle over and over again, no matter how many internet gurus try to argue otherwise.
Can I file my pleadings with your clerk?
Pardon me?
Can I file my pleadings with your clerk of court? Your clerk of court.
You gotta file the pleadings as the court rules say you're supposed to file the pleadings. Now, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it like the court rules say. And you gotta go, the court rules are all online on how you file the pleadings.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You gotta serve one to the city attorney. You can serve the other one on the court through my clerk and the email address that she's gonna send you when she sends you those tickets. But if we're gonna play ball, sir, you're gonna have to know the rules of the game.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Because you're gonna give me your motion. You're gonna give me your motion on how the court has no jurisdiction over you. You're gonna give me your motion on how how all of this stuff, right? And have that in by the end of the day on April.
Your Honor, what I don't think that is my job to prove jurisdiction.
It is your job. It is your job.
It's the assertor's job to prove that whoever's asserting the claim, it's their job, Your Honor.
No, it's your job, sir. You're saying that the court has no jurisdiction over you.
No. What I'm saying is that the court has to prove jurisdiction. That's what I'm saying. That's different. So, and what I'm saying is that the court needs to prove jurisdiction. Whoever asserted the claim should tasked to prove the jurisdiction.
At this point the judge has already explained that there is a valid signed complaint sitting right in front of him, and under Michigan court rules the district court absolutely has authority to hear misdemeanor cases like this one, which means the court has already established its jurisdiction. Now the burden falls on you to prove why that jurisdiction supposedly does not exist, and that's where these sovereign citizen style arguments almost always collapse, because repeating internet phrases and legal buzzwords is not the same thing as presenting an actual legal defense supported by real law or court precedent.
Mr. Goss, are you on the line?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So, he's gonna say that you have to prove jurisdiction.
And the jurisdiction is codified in the state of Michigan. So if he's arguing otherwise, that's his beliefs. And at trial, I will be stating the facts of the complaint. And, it's his assertions does not mean that they're correct, Your Honor.
Right.
Do I have the right to know the charges that are waged against me?
The judge already gave you the charges.
The charges that are waged against you. This is an arraignment. Let's go through
Nature
that
and
right now. Let's go through that right now, so we don't get this, so we don't hear this issue.
Okay.
We'll do that.
Yeah.
We'll do that right now.
To keep things simple, here's what this guy is actually dealing with: multiple charges including driving while his license was suspended, driving with the wrong license, no proof of insurance, improper signaling, defective brake lights, and even missing plates on the trailer. So while he keeps trying to turn the hearing into some giant constitutional debate, the reality is the case started because of a long list of basic traffic violations, and honestly, if there were an extra charge for acting completely unbearable in court, he'd probably be fighting that one too.
Mr. Glenn, can you put your appearance on the record now, sir?
Yes, Your Honor. William Glenn, House Counsel on behalf of Mr. Gray, or standby attorney on behalf of Mr. Gray.
All right. What about the warrant, sir? What are we going to do with that?
Your Honor, we would ask that the court set aside the warrants.
All right. The court will set aside the warrants. The court will enter a not guilty plea on his behalf, and the court will issue a $0 personal.
Your Honor, I object. Your Honor, I object.
For what?
I don't have enough information to enter a plea, and that's one of my abilities is for me to know and me to understand and be able to make an informed plea. And I need more information.
Your Honor.
Plea for me, and I don't understand. So right now, I object, Your Honor.
My client stands mute to the charges. That means he doesn't say guilty or not guilty.
All right. Well,
And I'll plead innocent.
Alright everyone, that's gonna do it for today's video. This case eventually moved into an in-person jury trial, and since most courts only live streamed the Zoom proceedings, the final outcome was never shown publicly. But judging by everything we watched today, I think we can all make a pretty good guess about how things ended. These arguments almost always follow the exact same pattern: confidence at the beginning, confusion in the middle, and reality hitting hard by the end. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, and if not, that's fine too, drop a dislike. But either way, leave your thoughts down in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe with notifications turned on so you never miss the next courtroom breakdown.